Alright guys, I promised you a video, so here it is. I apologize that this is upside down, but I am doing this with one hand and have the camera propped up on a box. So I'm going to go over everything just like it is listed in the dissection guide, and so we're going to begin with the thoracic arteries. So the first thing we're going to look at here is arch of the aorta. Okay, so this structure right here. The first branch off of it is going to be the brachiocephalic trunk right here. Remember, brachiocephalic, it's going to the arm, brachio, and cephalic head. And so that's going to come up. It is going to have several branches. And so if I move this out of the way, that way you guys can see, one of the branches here is going to go up to the left common carotid right here. This cat has a little slight abnormality here. Typically the two branches are together, but there's a continuation of the brachiocephalic right here, and you'll see underneath this vein that here is the split for the right common carotid and into the left subclavian right here. All right, so technically I think you could probably also call this subclavian just because of how close these are together, and it would technically sit right under the clavicle, but we're not going to pin something that's ambiguous like that. So if it's in this or this, it would be a common carotid. If we are asking for a brachiocephalic trunk, it would be down here. And then if we're asking for subclavian, it would be over here after the branch for the common carotid here. So something to remember with the vessels going into the arm is you're going to have different boundaries that are going to change the name as they go along. So it's like you're driving down a street and you're in the city and you go to county and all of a sudden the road changes names. It's the kind of the same thing that's happening here. So right under the clavicle, so while you're still kind of in the thoracic cavity, you have the subclavian. And then once you cross over, if I was to close this like this, once you would cross over out of the thoracic cavity right here, you would end up in the axillary region. Let me clean this up a little bit here. So this part where it's kind of in the armpit is going to be axillary. And then once you get down here into the arm, so you can kind of see where this musculature starts right here. We dug this out. So this part of the vessel right here that's in the actual arm would be brachial. Okay? So we went over those. So for thoracic veins, so in the cat they're named a little bit differently. So what we would think of as the superior vena cava is called the precava in the cat. So this part right here, and it's going to come up and split into a right and left subclavian. And then there is going to be a separation a little further down. Now, mind you, this side is cut, but over here you can see this branch right here that's going into the external jugular. And so I'm going to post some pictures of the pig where you can see more of a clear delineation with the internal and external jugular. But what I try to do is follow the vessels up, and the external jugular is going to go to the outside of the face, like right here, and the internal jugular is going to kind of come up kind of along with this common carotid, and it's going to go into the head deep, so right up kind of along that central line. All right, so once we get past this branch for the jugular, you're going to have branches into the arm vessels, and so we'll get to that in a minute. If we go ahead and go next, just like our study guide says, we're going to look at arm arteries. And so here you have your brachial, just like you would have over on this side. I'm just making sure that right there that you guys can see this. All right, so as this continues down into the forearm, you would have the radial and ulnar. And let me see if I can turn this a little bit. All right, so cats have a thumb. It's on this side as opposed to this side. So this is going to be your thumb side, so this would be radial, and then over here is going to be ulnar. These are really hard to dissect out, so I'm going to go ahead and say that we're not going to ask you those on the practical, but in case you wanted to know where they are, there they are. All right, so next we're going to go into the abdominal vessels, and I have to change camera angles, so you will see a separate video shortly.